Welcome back to the least popular part of the presentation. Why bull trap? Right now, May 2025. I'm gonna give some compelling evidence again with Curtis, who is going to be challenging me and perhaps also forcing me to be clear in my argumentation. This is interesting. I kind of even sorted my slides from like what I feel is the smallest wave, and I definitely will end up with the slides where I believe the weight is biggest of the arguments I'm going to make. So this one could be really just minor, but it's worth. So check this out, Curtis. This is 2022. This is 2021 top, okay, right here.
Yeah.
And then we had the bear market rally occurred in February, March 2022. I remember we were making already our podcast there. And from the top to bottom on weekly, it's 77 days. It's 11 candles, 11 weeks, 77 days basically. Okay. And check this out. From the top of January 2025 to the April flush, of 75k. Well, guess how many candles is that? So 77. Okay.
Right.
I know this might be just a coincidence, but I just thought to mention it because the next thing that I've done, with this yellow, okay, with this yellow indicator, I measured. So then, how long did the last bear market rally last in 2022? Okay, bear market rally. I'm not sure if I should clarify the term. It's basically when we have a temporary upside during the broader bear year. Okay, I believe that makes sense. And so how long did it last in 2022? And it lasted 63 days, 9 candles. Okay, it peaked around the end of March. And if I would follow up on this, if I would project it into the current year, I get the date of around 9th of June. Any questions?
No, that's clear. I see the parallels. If we hit back around 100K, people are going to be saying, "Oh, are we hitting a double top just like in 2021?" Right? Or they're going to worry that we're having that, and that's it, the double top.
Yeah. Or they're gonna say, "Well, this is a bull market, obviously."
But people will have memory from the last time that happened at 70K, right?
We will have to see when that happens, or what is the prevailing sentiment.
Right. Yeah.
This is compelling. So for those of you who have done some research about Wyckoff, and now in the green circles, I have circled 2021 November top and the January December 2025 top. It was both kind of a double top. It was a beautiful Wyckoff. You can even see the M or the W, actually, W in between. In both cases, there was there was first stop in October and then in November, and there was a first stop in December, the next stop in January. So, any questions, Curtis?
No, I don't know much about Wyckoff, other than I can sort of see it. Like, I intuitively understand it's like multiple shakeouts both ways before a resolution, it seems, right?
Appearing often at the tops, at the more significant tops even.
Okay.
This has already been a significant top because especially altcoins really collapsed already. Ethereum's down like 60% or so from the top right now. Bitcoin corrected like 30%. I know it's not actually much, and right now it's 10% of all-time highs, but we can already say this is a top. But here I'm making an argument that it was a picture perfect Wyckoff and that it might be more than just a local top that will be overtaken in 5 months or 4 months. Here I'm basically making an argument that this is a much more significant top. Like in 2021, November was very significant top. We did not come back so soon, and we had to go through a hell of a trouble to even see those prices again, 68K. Next slide. Okay, so here I'm gonna make some of my viewers angry, those that fancy Colin, talks crypto, because on this slide, I am saying that some of the reverse indicator channels that I map, because I briefly am mapping, observing some channels that have been like super bullish at the previous cycle top, super bearish the previous cycle bottom, and are they today bullish or bearish? So with Colin, it's very simple. He's, I think, more bullish than he's ever been throughout the whole cycle. This is his videos right now. Pretty much all about M2, correlation with Bitcoin. Here I'm touching already the M2 and that you mentioned, Curtis. But I will follow up on that on the next slides, still in this presentation. Here is the Jim Cramer, a very well-known kind of reverse indicator, well-known guy, who in January 2023, imagine this, Curtis, he told you in television that you are an idiot if you are owning crypto. Imagine that in December 2022, he told you that he would not touch crypto in a million years. And imagine that in December 2024 says that I've been recommending Bitcoin for years. And then in November 2024, he says, all I can tell you is own Bitcoin. It's a winner.
Right.
That is basically, as far as I know, his last statements about Bitcoin that are super bullish. So obviously, I don't like this. I don't like to see this. But when it comes to M2, I am going to further evaluate that in this presentation. Any questions, Curtis?
No, that's clear. That's good.
Okay. So this is, people will be laughing, and feel free to laugh, to give it a good laugh too if you want, Curtis, because I'm gonna project some insane things about Bitcoin that are very contra and very against much of what you said about Bitcoin, okay? I know there is lots of channels and some circles on the chart, so it might be confusing. I will try to clear this up. So this is a multiple cycles, 10 years of price history of Bitcoin. This is on logarithmic, okay? This is very important. This is on logarithmic scale. So on the first one, I have made this yellow channel. This is all my observation. Market is so oversaturated by analysts that I sometimes think that there is nothing to invent. And I'm always delighted when I come up with something that I haven't seen with anyone. Anybody is looking at it, nobody. And this parallel channel I have drawn connecting the top 2014 and 2017. And it's basically also connecting the bot of 2015. And I'm connecting it with actually Corona. But it's a parallel channel. Parallel channels are generally powerful because the line is, the trend line connecting the top has an absolutely equal slope down the bottom. And if you look the middle, I'm now interested to see, I'm now looking at the middle of the channel, this line chart, that lines, and it's pointing roughly to the top of the next cycle, which was in 2021. Both of the stops happened around, basically intersected it, okay? So I made the same. I did the same again with another channel, parallel channel green. I connected the top of 2018, 2021. Then I connected even the bottom and even Corona bottom and then even cycle bottom of 2023. It's the same channel. Again, I'm looking at the neck and the middle of the channel. And the middle of the channel basically was actually hit in right now, December, January, in the last stop in crypto. And with this now, I am going to make another hypothetical channel that is maybe going to somehow predict or approximate where the next bottom and where the next top could be of the next cycle. And there it comes the shocker, because this is as bearish as it's gonna get. And even I am surprised what I see. If I would project that the cycle bottom will happen this year, if this is a barrier, then around the end of this year, the bottom would be around actually 25 to 30,000 Bitcoin only. And then the next cycle top would be the middle of the parallel channel, like the other two times. And the middle of the parallel channel, again, hard to say how many years to the future it can be, okay? But very rough estimation that if it's around the end of the decade, around 2028, it's somewhere around 80,000 only, so even lower than the previous top. So feel free to have any kind of comments, Curtis. I know how ridiculous it sounds.
Yeah, just the math doesn't make sense. The assumptions for that to be true, you would then have to extrapolate what for that price to be true, what would have to be true in the Bitcoin market. And it would have to be, for some reason, adoption has stalled, or there was some sort of 51% attack, or there was a massive reversal of US government policy, or some other coin or AI tool disrupted Bitcoin. That's the only way it gets down there for a long period of time, because it's still such a small asset class. So you're describing a outlier event hitting Bitcoin, which is entirely possible, but the probability of that happening, I think, is quite low. You're basically saying the price will stall at 80K, right?
That's what this is showing.
So you then need to say, what are the events that would cause that to happen?
Yeah, I really wonder, if you asked me at the start of 2022, if you ask me what would be the outlier of Bitcoin going to 15K, I really wonder what I would say. But I would certainly not say that it's because of Luna will fall, Russians will invade, stock market will tank, and FTX will implode. And they are going to use their clients' balances for their own leverage games without their clients' consent or knowledge.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, FTX.
I would have never predicted that. So what could be the next? Binance doing something like FTX? I don't know.
That's just a chart. You're just looking at a chart, right?
Yes. So
the
why?
Chart says it's possible, but I don't give much credit to that if it's not backed by some sort of argument. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It would be that the US states' approval will slow down or maybe even stall, and maybe some of them will be vetoed, or the approvals will be basically cancelled. I think it happened with Arizona recently. Also, that MicroStrategy will not be able to be buying more, or they will have to stop buying for some reason. Maybe they will not be able to borrow, and that basically the lots of this green light that the Bitcoin has currently will fade away, and that it will be combined with recession. That would be just my very rough guesstimate. But again,
because all of those things you described could happen, but
okay.
I don't think that causes a permanent flattening or a lowering. But in the short term, that volatility is very possible.
Okay, let me progress to the next one. And I'm coming basically to a closed presentation, because now I'm gonna be only talking about M2. I believe I have found something that really helps me. So M2 and Bitcoin correlation, you mentioned it in your presentation at the start, and I'm going to continue in the next slides as well. But there is lots of guys that have been this. I have heard this before, the global M2 and Bitcoin correlation. What I've never heard, because then I went to my chart, I analyzed it myself. I turned on this. This is a global M2. These candles here. This is the price of Bitcoin.
The top one.
Excuse me.
The red candles are M2.
This green lit candles. This is M2. Yes, this is M2. At the top, the lines at the top of the chart, and that below, that's the Bitcoin price. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
This is like the last 8 years, and these red boxes, I have shown you what was happening in the last two bear markets, 2018, 2022, and in both instances, Bitcoin price has started declining. The M2 kept going on up higher for about up to somewhere in the spring, and then in the spring, in the both instances, M2 reversed downwards. And so this is not the first time when M2 continued rising and Bitcoin didn't follow, not now, and even after that didn't follow, because the guys now, at first they were saying it will go up immediately, but now there is lots of talk that it's skewed by 3 months or so delayed. And not even after that Bitcoin price followed, it continued downwards in both of these bear years cases. I also wanted to bring up one argument from Felix Zulav.
So he's saying that liquidity is not coming to the US markets.
That it's less. Felix Zulav is saying that it's less from the overseas. It's coming less from the overseas now. And is harming the overall liquidity. I will follow up on the M2, however, this was just the first. And I want to close my presentation with this. So, over the last year, ever since I started making these presentations, occasionally I discover a narrative that everybody is repeating all of a sudden at the same time and just yelling it hard. It was meme coins in June 2024. Right. So then I picked there, all of these were viral tweets. All of these, I know it's small, but it's like 82k views, 100k views, and all of these were viral influencers accounts, and they were all unilaterally saying the same things at the same time. Meme coins.
Right.
That was the June 2024. I identified it as a very bearish thing for meme coins. I saw the same with the alt season is next in January 2025.
Right.
This is a figure of speech when I say clowns, just to force my point a bit more. So what do we have? Which narrative do we have now? And when I was doing my presentation, I didn't even know that I will come across this. I was really surprised because I'm mapping, for instance, Colin Talks Crypto, and he started getting every M2 video he makes like 50,000 views. And I was like, okay.
Well, because M2 is the dominant view of a chart that looks very strong. If you take out the time lag, it looks like a super high correlation. So it's what people want to hear. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
I know. And when I was making this presentation, it made sense why he's getting so much views. Everybody, like, all you have to do right now if you're an influencer is to do a content where you're gonna say global M2 is correlated with Bitcoin, and global M2 is going up, Bitcoin is going to follow, and they're projecting 170k, 140k, 190k, 160k, 140k. This is a modest one. This is a 40k views, 170k views. And Raw Paul, like, this is such a smart person. I would not think he is going to be part of the crowd. I would think he would be always against the crowd, kind of.
No, but he's been an M2 guy for all his career.
Okay.
About M2.
No doubt about him. Okay.
And he has one of the biggest, I think he has his own chart that tracks it. I think Sunny referenced him too about his M2 chart that Sunny likes. So Raul Paul's always been an M2 guy. I think he's the leader of the group, actually.
So it's 1 million views on his only, on his tweet.
And he's legit. He's legitimately smart. You're right.
He's very smart guy. Yes, that's why. But I didn't really. I just typed in this, and all of this popped out on me, and
it's interesting.
I was scrolling down, and I saw all viral tweets saying the literally same. And so I would like to progress to my conclusion. So what looks like easy money is probably not going to work out in the market. I say in the conclusion, and you make your own. Okay, I dare you. Don't rely on me. I helped you with my lots of research. Curtis helps you with his research. Take it, but make your own conclusion. In my opinion, the BTC to the moon because of M2 is a very popular narrative. It keeps lots of investors optimistic, in my opinion. However, such a very unilateral consensus in the sentiment tells me that I will expect potential max pain scenario as a further to the downside. I'm estimating 45 very slightly slightly smaller chance that this is a bull run, and slightly bigger chance that this is a bull trap in case we are going to come back to bearish lands once this rally ends. I don't think that it ends today. There is quite few people bearish today, pretty much out of the market, bearishly positioned. I think that we will go still higher. We touched 98k Bitcoin. Think we will overtake it, go over 100k this month or next month. I estimate 45% chance that this will be a sustained bull run.
I would disagree with these percentages. I think what you're saying is very useful in terms of the sentiment on Twitter and with retail, but I would counter with the number of corporate entities that are entering the market. There's something like 75 companies now have strategic reserves with corporate level, like MicroStrategy. There's about 75 copycats there. And then, of course, you have the governments and the states. You have sovereign funds buying. And so I think we've moved outside of the retail investor dominating. Sort of counter trading dominant sentiment on Twitter is very useful, but I think there's other players involved that don't care about that. The ETFs, boomer, portfolio buyers, fund buyers. So I think that's starting to be more dominant. I would just change the percentages on this. I think it's going towards a global asset that's bought as part of general purchasing of funds and companies. And I think that's going to overwhelm the Raoul Pauls of this world. But I might be wrong. So I wouldn't put all my money in that either.
The time is precious. I'm not going to be repeating the same arguments that we did last time. There is no reason for that. You're very free to rewatch at least parts of the March presentation, because I guarantee you that many arguments that we've mentioned with Curtis there are still valid today. And with that, thanks a lot that you were here. Curtis challenged me well, and I'm looking forward to future interactions.
Okay, thanks, Dave.